Mike Patagliano again, and this is episode 2 of the Startup Evangelist. I call this episode Day Zero. Concepts that you should be aware of, that you should discuss with your co-founders, and just general knowledge of what you're about to undertake. This is going to be a relatively short episode. There's only one slide to the PowerPoint, 9 bullets that I want to discuss, so let's jump right into the content. Day zero. So the first thing that you may have heard it said before, but this will be the hardest professional challenge you will ever attempt. And bullets 2 and 3 really are the indicators of that. Not only are you going to have to just to get a meeting with outside investors, you're going to have to figure out a new solution that can win against established competitors and alternatives that are out in the marketplace. And then once you're funded, you get an outside investor who turns around and says, "This is really interesting. Let's do it." Now you have to build the business that's going to support the solution. You have to rent office space. You have to get a law firm. You have to negotiate a term sheet. You have to get a corporate bank account. Again, all things that have been done. You just have to be aware that while you're hiring people to go and build a solution, somebody has to take care of all of the administrative functions of building out the company. And when you consider those aspects of it, work-life balance becomes very much a challenge for the co-founders. You obviously don't want to take the time away from the developing the solution of any of your technical employees. So you have to ask yourself who's going to go and do all of the other things that are necessary. That tends to be the initial CEO who takes on the burden. But for both the CEO and the other co-founders, work-life balance becomes very problematic, if not impossible at this stage. There's just so much to do. As an example, um, while you haven't even met with a venture capitalist yet, you have to figure out what you're going to spend to build your solution. Well, that often means creating a month by month or an annual expense plan by expense category, by month, and making sure that it is reasonable in your expectations of what an outside founder will find to be justifiable expense items. Everything from how much you're going to pay yourselves to, who's on the team. And that really, is the first bullet that's in red here. Um, your hires for the team on this first day really should be people and individuals that are going to contribute significantly to the development of your solution. You don't need a salesperson. You don't need a marketing person. Let's say you have months ahead of you, 6 to 9 months of development, whether it be hardware, software development, whatever the solution might be. Um, you really are going to have to limit the hires to only those critical few people. Otherwise, when you present your initial expense plan during the due diligence phase of your discussions with the outside investors, they'll just look at it and say, why are you hiring these individuals on day one? They aren't necessary, they aren't going to be contributing, and they'll just get scratched from your plan. To complement that, you have to have a discussion with your co-founders to make sure that everybody is equally committed to this. It is just unlikely that, you're going to be taking Mondays and Fridays off. You're going to not be taking, 3 and 4 week vacations and family trips to Europe that may be planned. Those all have to be put on the table up front so that it can be determined and judged by all of the co-founders whether there is going to be an equal sharing of commitment to the venture. It's also the case that it's most likely that it will be years before a reasonable liquidity event occurs. And a liquidity event is either an acquisition or an IPO. So this reality of potentially earning less than you would have in a corporate role has to be factored into your family work-life balance. And what does that mean from a family perspective? So there are these intangibles that come into play with this professional challenge that you're about to undertake. Excuse me, this professional challenge that you're about to undertake. And you have to have open and honest conversations with your co-founders and families to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Now you have the challenge of um, meeting an investor or getting an investor meeting. It's the rule of thumb is 1,110. What does that mean? Is that for every 1,000 pitch decks that a venture capitalist receive, they schedule 100 meetings. So 900 of you are going to fail and not achieve that meeting. So you have to do everything up front to distinguish yourself from those 999 other founding teams so that the venture capitalist says, yeah, I do want to meet with this team. This is a very reasonable idea. It looks like the founders have good management maturity. I want to understand more. And now, from those 100 meetings that the outside investor schedules, they typically make 10 investments. So now we have 990 failures and 10 winners. This is a pass fail venture. There are no participation trophies. There are no pats on the back on LinkedIn for saying, hey, I built a pitch deck, but I didn't get anywhere with it. This is a winner take all kind of engagement. And again, the co founders have to be cognizant of that fact and willing to put the time and effort in to make sure that they're one of the 10 that get funded. Now, here's the dirty little secret that is not often described or discussed. Of those 10 ventures that get funded, 55% are going to fail. So the smartest guy in the room, or the smartest person in the room, excuse me, thought your venture was worth funding. They put their money in, and now through a whole multitude of options, the venture fails. So this environment of continual stress, of facing challenges that you've never faced before as a first-time founder, is the reality of what you are signing up for when you head down this path. It was the most fun that I've ever had in my life. It was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And I was changed in ways that I never imagined by heading down this path. I wish you all the success in the world, and I encourage everybody to attempt, if you have an idea and the desire to attempt this challenge. And I hope that what you see from the videos that will be coming up will continue to contribute to your knowledge base. Now, the next two videos are going to be how investors look at first-time founders or founding presentations, and some of the red flags that will stand out in investors' mind negatively. when you move forward. So again, thank you for watching. Please join us for episodes 3 and 4.